This is KGW News at noon.
Good afternoon. I'm Drew Carney. Thanks for joining us for the news at noon. And we start this afternoon with the latest details on an overnight shooting in Yakima that left 3 people dead. Yakima police say it happened around 3:30 this morning at a Circle K store where the suspected shooter, we see him right there, opened fire. So that is a shot of the suspect, 21-year-old Jared Haddock, taken from security footage at the Circle K. Police say he then went across the street to another gas station, got into a car that police think belongs to Haddock, and took off. The Yakima County Sheriff's Office says police have located a home where they believe Haddock is, and a SWAT unit is there. Records show that Haddock has a recent criminal history, including motor vehicle theft. Yakima's police chief says this morning's shooting appears to be a random incident, that there was no apparent conflict between the suspect and the 3 people who he shot. We'll continue to update this story for you online at KGW.com and on TV later this afternoon during our news at 4 p.m. We're also continuing to follow the latest on the mass shootings in California over the last few days. Police say the suspect in the first shooting on Saturday in Monterey Park near Los Angeles had just one previous arrest more than 30 years ago in 1990 for unlawful possession of a firearm. But they also say the 72-year-old identified as Hu Can Tran was acting strangely in the days leading up to Saturday's shooting. They say he spoke to police in Hemet, the small town where he lived, about 80 miles from Monterey Park, just a few days before the shooting. He told them that his family had once tried to poison him, and he was the victim of both fraud and theft. He also told the police that he would come back with evidence, but he never did. NBC's Jay Gray has more for us this afternoon from Southern California.
As the investigation and mourning continues here in Monterey Park, the state of California now dealing with 3 mass shootings in as many days. The first here, 11 people killed inside the dance studio just behind us here as they were celebrating the Lunar New Year. The second in Oakland, 1 killed, 7 injured. And the third just yesterday in Half Moon Bay in the Bay Area, 7 killed and 1 injured there. And the first and second here in Monterey Park as well as in Half Moon Bay, there are a lot of similarities. Older Asian men, the suspects, the gunmen according to police, and attacking members of the Asian community. We also know that in both these cases, while we don't know a motive, investigators do say that they appear to be personally driven, not any kind of act of terror. Now, here in Monterey Park, we're learning a little bit more about the evidence being recovered by officers. We know that there were 42 shots fired inside the dance hall here, and at the suspect's home, we know that they recovered weapons, a cache of ammunition, over 100 rounds. We also know that there were supplies to make homemade suppressors in the suspect's home as well. Again, no motive in any of these shootings at this point as the state of California continues to grieve just overwhelming loss in the last 3 days. That is the latest from here in Monterey Park. I'm Jay Gray. Now back to you.
Meanwhile, there is a local connection to the Monterey Park shooting. A Vietnamese American lawmaker here in Oregon knows people in that community.
And I hope this shooting does not be representative of what the new norm can be. It is very sad for the communities in California, Southern California, as well as for the Asian community. We all have families and friends throughout the state.
Friends of Representative Tran, who we just heard from there, say she was actually a member at the ballroom where Saturday's shooting happened. The shooter was also a member, and Tran says he had been dancing at the ballroom for more than 20 years.
Bubba, get down. Bubba, put your head down, Bub. Put your head down.
That's about 15 seconds worth of a shootout between an armed robbery suspect and police that happened yesterday in Salem. It went on for about another 10 seconds. A viewer was driving by the scene at the time and they sent us this video. Meanwhile, KGW's Mike Benner went to Salem on Monday to talk to witnesses who watched that entire shootout unfold.
Late Monday morning at the corner of Kubler and Commercial in Salem, investigators fly a drone in hopes of getting a better look at the scene of a deadly police shooting.
I've never seen anything like this before.
This man's in shock by what started as an armed robbery in the Walmart parking lot. We're told as officers with the Salem Police Department responded, the suspect ran to the nearby Planet Fitness, then across the street to Napa Auto Parts. It's here where officers exchanged gunfire with the suspect.
He turned around and he shot a couple times, and then the cops shot back, which they should have, and they hit him a couple times. He fell to the ground. He got back up. He didn't get totally back up. He just leaned up back up and started shooting again. Then the cops started shooting him about 6 or 8 times and really hit him.
You can hear the gunfire in this video. Witnesses, including this woman who wanted to remain anonymous, recall hearing dozens of gunshots.
It's pretty scary. We locked up shop and just head to the back behind the concrete wall to make sure nobody got a stray bullet or anything.
Fortunately, there were no injuries to bystanders or police, but we're told the suspect was killed in the shooting. Troubling if you ask the man who owns the property where it happened.
Yeah, it's a shame to, you don't know if he's on drugs or mental problems.
And that's sure to be part of the investigation that had a stretch of Commercial Street in Salem shut down for much of the day Monday.
I've never seen somebody die like that. But the cops, they did a good job. They had to do what they had to do. That's what I'm telling you.
I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
All right, Vancouver police, meanwhile, and the FBI are asking for help to find this missing 8-year-old boy. His name is Bredson John, and the FBI says he's actually been missing since last June. At that time, members of the community asked Vancouver police to conduct a welfare check at the boy's home, but officers were not able to find him. They say Bredson's grandparents were his last known guardians, and the grandparents have recently been charged with custodial interference. Authorities say they have not been able to contact any of the boy's other relatives. So they're asking if you've seen him or if you know anything about Bredson, you should contact Vancouver police. All right, take a look at this now. A new study by Forbes Home ranked Oregon 9th highest in the country when it comes to rent prices. The report used numbers from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis and the Department of Housing and Urban Development. It found the average rent price in Oregon is just under $1,300 a month. But when you consider the average Oregon income in 2021 was just over $60,000, that means the average renter spent about 25% of their paychecks on housing.
Really, you're not going to rent a home for less than $2,000 anymore, and you're going to be more like $2,200 plus now for a home. Once the inventory that couldn't sell goes away, it's rented, I do believe rents will just start climbing again.
That is Darla Andrew, the owner of Rent Portland Home. So she says by spring or summertime, the average rent price here could jump another $200 a month. By the way, Hawaii was listed as the most expensive place to rent, and California was ranked second.
Oh. Drew, wouldn't it be great if Hawaii were the cheapest spot? We'd all go rent.
Well, we'd still have
Hawaii.
that airfare to worry about, Rod.
Well, there's that problem, isn't there?
What do you have for us local weather-wise this afternoon?
Oh, look how pretty this is. We're down in Lincoln City, Chinook Winds Casino Resort, the live camera there looking out over the Pacific. They'll be up to about 50 degrees this afternoon. Gorgeous day. Kind of fun to watch the swells with the live camera feed come rolling in. We have some different worlds. This is totally different, right? This is live, Stoller Family Vineyards Estate down in Dayton in Yamhill County, where the fog is still there. It was a fog advisory this morning. And because of the fog, much of the Central Valley still in the 30s at this hour. And we are watching an air quality stagnation advisory. More on what our air quality numbers are coming up in just a little bit in our show. Partly cloudy over downtown, 46 degrees, kind of right where we thought we would be. We're going to be getting, it looks like, up into the upper 30s. But look at the difference. Portland, sunshine, 46. Fog in Salem at McNary Field, only 35. The nice weather at the coast. Look at the Dows shooting all the way up to 58 degrees. Again, really quite a variance. Everybody is dry, minus any mist with the dense fog spots. I have us warming into the upper 40s. Winds will continue to be light. So coming up, those air quality numbers for you and the latest on that much colder air and snow chances coming in this weekend in just a bit.